pillow with a paw print pattern.
It's a cushion.
Yeah, but that doesn't illustrate. It's Freya's bed. A little bit messy.
It's a perfectly healthy amount of messy. That painting.
Why would you want it looted?
Maybe Freya enjoyed the atmosphere it created.
The atmosphere of chaos.
Hang on. There's a smaller version down by the floor.
It's a photograph.
Freya's bear.
Looks pretty depressed.
He's had a rough couple of days.
Do you think this was always supposed to
I don't know. It
no
is.
windows either. It's a little glass box.
I think it's a vivarium.
Come again?
See the leaves and twigs in there? Might have been for keeping insects.
That's weird.
What did you find in the drawer?
Nothing. They're completely empty. Brushes.
They're clean, but they look pretty well used. Painting supplies. Painting supplies.
A pillow with a paw print.
It's a cushion.
Yeah, but that doesn't illustrate. Do you think this was all?
I don't know. It
no
is.
windows either. And there's no natural light in
I
here.
like it.
Just little trinkets.
Let's leave them alone.
Oh, just beautiful. What is it?
Huh?
Sort of a delicate jade, but with a little seafoam green, is that right?
Sorry?
Your hair, dear! Which shade do you use? It's lovely! And that shape. You're really pushing the envelope.
Oh, thanks. I do what I can to offset Grimoire's beige on brown ensemble.
Detectives don't need to be brightly colored. We prefer to blend into the background.
Oh, you're the detective? Delightful. Penny Pointer, pleasure.
Is that short for Penelope?
Officially, yes, but I never can be bothered with all 4 syllables of it. Penelope sounds a little ostentatious coming out of the mouth, don't you think?
Sure. Yeah.
20-something, Aquarius, love to travel, and nearly all of my friends are birds.
Travel? Where to?
Anywhere at all, as long as it has species worth studying. Ornithology, they call it. I call it the only thing I've ever been good at.
And have you studied the birds here at Tangle Tower?
But of course! Where else do you think I developed my love of the field? No matter where I go, I always find myself coming home to Tangle Tower.
Because of the birds.
Oh, no, because of him! Silly to admit, but I suppose I can't bear for us to be apart.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, don't you know? My fiancé, dear Fitz. He's not really the traveling type, you see.
Fitz Fellow.
The very one.
You're engaged to a member of the Fellow family? That's interesting.
I'm not especially interested in whatever tedious feuding goes on between our two families. Fitz and I find it much easier to stay out of it altogether. I awoke early and headed down into the greenhouse to see Fitz. He's always there, crack of dawn, every morning like clockwork.
How come?
It's where he's happiest. That and he has a great deal of work to do every day, watering, pruning, mulching, whatever that is.
Do you help him with the work in the greenhouse?
Oh, no. I wouldn't dream of it. I'd probably break something.
So, you stayed with Fitz the whole day?
No. In the early afternoon, he went back inside. Rather suddenly, as it happens.
Did he say why?
He didn't. Probably just a touch of heat stroke, the poor dear. He's more delicate than you'd think.
What did you do after that?
Let's see. I returned to the aviary to feed my birds.
And how many birds are you responsible for?
Officially 4, but in truth it's more like 400.
Can they not feed themselves?
Of course, and they often do. But I think they just like the company. As do I. Sometime in the evening, I left the aviary and headed back towards my room. But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. He was muttering something. Seemed a bit upset, the poor dear. I followed him down, but the grand hall was empty by the time I got there. Empty aside from Detective Hawkshaw, who was loitering over by the library. I don't know what it was, but she looked a little lost. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower. I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path. For some reason, he was coming out of Fitz's bedroom. He looked rather lost, too. I told him I was looking for Uncle. He suggested we look up in Flora's tower room. We could see from the hallway. The door was off its hinges. I knew then something was terribly wrong. A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya. Uncle Pointer was there. Fitz, too, standing over in the corner with Fifi and Poppy.
What about Flora?
Of course, silent as ever. Uncle suggested we should leave. Give the others some space, you know. So he and I both returned to our rooms in Pointer Tower. A fellow bird enthusiast. She's quite the expert, truth be told. Studied them professionally at one point. I think her father taught her.
Are you friends with Flora?
A little bit.
A little bit friends.
She's one for the peace and quiet. I dare say I'm a little too loud for her.
I can see that.
I do admire her, though, really. Always felt like she could have done better than settle for Felix.
Ouch.
I said it. I must say, I really don't care for the den of self-delusion that he's retreated into. People are better off when they just let themselves be themselves. Between you and me, I think Felix is secretly rather miserable. She mostly ignores me, if I'm honest.
How come?
Well, we're not quite on the same intellectual level.
Oh. You don't need to.
No, it's quite all right. I'm comfortable with it. She's a most unsavory little... She was incredibly rude about my appearance.
Which part? The giant bird arms, or...
If I were her, I'd go easy on the judgment of others. I mean, look at her. She looks like the ghost of a scarecrow. I just wish Uncle Pointer would tell her to behave herself.
Professor Pointer? Why him?
Oh, it was Uncle that called her in. She's his responsibility. Did you not know that? She'd sit in the aviary, first thing in the morning, and paint the birds. Sometimes she'd ask me their names.
Freya was interested in studying bird species too?
No, just wanted to know their names. Isabelle, Clementine, Myrtle, Lysandre, Genevieve.
Got it, thanks.
For my 21st birthday, she gave me a framed painting. All the birds from a single spring, with their names written underneath. I can't begin to tell you how much I've treasured it.
Sounds like you two were close.
I feel like I always struggled to articulate my admiration for her, but she had a way of understanding unspoken things. Isn't he strapping?
He is big.
And so brooding.
Kinda sulky, yeah.
I can never tell what's going on in that beautiful head of his.
It just sounds like you don't know him very well.
I don't remember asking for your input. Can't say I've ever taken an interest in Uncle's astronomy. On occasion I've dared to visit him in his tower, but I always regret it. It's all just a little too abstract for me.
What do you mean?
Oh, did you know the sun is apparently over 400,000 miles wide? Okay, so what should I do with that information? How does it help me?
Don't look at me. You're the one who memorized it.
Oh, she's beautiful. Who is she? Wait, is that me? Oh, Did you talk to Poppy already?
Yeah, a little bit.
And did you make any notes of what she told you?
Yeah, I did.
Lovely. Burn them. It'll all be lies.
Why would Poppy lie to us?
Because that's what she does. She's a snake. Looks like one, too.
Don't you think you're being a little unfair, Penny?
She started it. Looks a little simple for Poppy, doesn't it? I thought she was a grade 12 or something.
I didn't know there were that many grades.
I'm sure they invented some new ones just for her. Hello. Who penned this juicy little number?
We don't know. It's not signed.
An anonymous letter? Classic clue. Haven't seen this one in a while. He lives in the music room, doesn't he?
Currently.
Not a fan of insects myself. Whose research is this?
We were hoping you might know.
No, can't say I... Freya, perhaps. I know she was always very fond of grubby little things like this.
Noted.
I know a lot of people rather like this painting, but it's a little much for me. I find it overbearing. And for some reason, it makes me feel bad for Freya. I think she was more troubled than we knew. I can't decide what's worse. How she looks here, or how she looks now.
Do you know who this is? In the photo?
Oh, absolutely no idea. Ooh, delightful. More of a gemstone than a fruit, isn't it?
Inedible, too, I think.
Yes. At one point I thought Fitz might be growing them to sell them. But honestly, I think he just likes the way they look. A bit vain to carve wooden figurines of oneself, isn't it? Gaudy old thing, isn't it? Flora seems very fond of it. I've never understood why. But then I could say the same thing about her husband.
Heyo!
How terrible.
You recognize it?
The color scheme. 3 different pinks. Obscene. Poppy's gramophone. She's had it for a long time. As a young child, she'd call it her mama phone, on account of it belonging to her mother.
That's cute.
Oh yes, adorable. Freya doesn't take very good care of her paints, does she? But then she was always rather bohemian, had her own priorities. Oh, did Fitz show you that?
Not exactly.
We found it hidden under his bed.
Ah, right. I don't know what that is. I doubt Freya intended it, but the overall effect is a little unsettling, don't you think? It's Flora that's the problem. She's an inescapably haunting presence, bless her. Oh, that's rather sad. I'm sure I've read about this creature somewhere. Don't remember anything about him playing the harp, though. Goodness me, Poppy really doesn't take care of her belongings, does she?
It wasn't in Poppy's room. It was in the little pond in the garden.
Exactly! Hardly the place for it. Finally! I get to see a detective's case file.
That's a very specific thing to be excited about.
Only last week I asked that miserable Hawkshaw woman if I could see her case notes.
I'm guessing she said no.
Would have been much more polite if she had just said no. Instead, she was quite rude to me. Accused me of being, what was it? A shallow sensationalist. You know, it's probably quite impressive. To a visitor, fresh eyes and all that.
Not you.
Try living in it for 20 years. The sheen wears off. If it wasn't for my fits, I'd have little reason to stay.
What about inheritance? You're the next oldest pointer after your uncle, aren't you?
Well, Thank you very much for phrasing it like that. But no, any money left in the Pointer family will pass down directly to Poppy.
Is that fair?
I couldn't care less, to be perfectly honest.
We can get into Penny's room now.
Now, like, right now? That's all the statements.
Let's go over them all. That's all the statements collected. Let's run through them all to see if anything doesn't add up.
To see if anyone's been lying.
That too.
Fitz and I were up in the Moonlight Garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds.
We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. So I made Fitz kick down the door.
Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back.
I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall.
But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared.
I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi.
I heard someone heading down the stairs, just outside my room.
Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it, until the someone began shouting at me.
Eventually, she let me in.
I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library.
He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the fellow staircase. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower.
I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry.
I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face.
I recognized Fiona's voice as well as the voice of my own daughter.
We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs.
I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path.
Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her.
Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too.
Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did.
A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya.
Then, I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting.
She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes.
I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything.
An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance.
I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long, but when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
That's disappointing.
What is?
All the statements line up with each other.
They don't just line up. Some of them even seem to specifically confirm each other. That's all the statements collected. Let's run through them all to see if anything doesn't add up. It's a bird bath. Is that just rainwater?
The birds seem to...
They're even singing. Doot, 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 doot.
Please don't do that.
looks like a microscope.
Can I touch it? I'm not sure this is a microscope.
No, that was it.
Nice work. Sounds like it unlocked.
Yeah, it's built on top of a little metal box. There's a book in here.
Fifi doesn't like me.
What did you do?
I'm not sure. If you find out, maybe you can let me know. Looks like someone doesn't want you to read that book.
That's the main thing making me want to read it.
Freya's best work, in my opinion. Although the photo doesn't carry the same energy as the real thing.
What do you think it's a painting of?
What do you mean?
Like, what's the subject matter? What's that big red thing?
Oh, I don't think it's that kind of painting. I've seen beetles with brightly colored shells, metallic shells even. They're relatively common, especially around here. There's a difference between that and actual gold.
It can't be actual gold. Gold is just inside the earth or whatever. You can't make it. That's called alchemy. It was a whole thing.
What's with the broken glass? How odd. Poppy's piano music. I remember when she started learning. She's improved a lot since then.
Yeah, that's generally how it works.
Right. Of course.